right. And just a quick point about recordings. When I record, I like to put in Canvas, I keep a module with our, it's a reference module. Where do we have it? Oh, did I forget to put it in? Okay. All right, I will have a page on Canvas that will have a link to all of our Zoom recordings. I usually list them by date and subject, and they're actually hosted on my YouTube. So because I do that, you'll have access to be able to go back and look over, you know, things like demos and project, you know, project introductions, things like that. So that way, that's what's going to happen with this recording. So here we are. Welcome to spring semester 2022. And I'm Barb Bauer. And I have a typo in my email address, so I will be updating that. That's it's actually barb.bauer at Temple. Fix that right now. And you can get a hold of me either by email, or you can also just text me on my cell. I'm fine with being texted. I can't always get back to you right away. I really do try to get back to everybody within 24 hours. And that goes for email as well. So this is a hybrid class. We meet in the studio on Mondays and via Zoom on Wednesdays. We meet from 2:40 to 5:10 twice a week. This is a synchronous class. You must be in class. We are, as I said, it is hybrid. That was what it was planned from last semester when this course was planned. And that's what we'll be doing, provided everything continues okay with the university. If things change, I will keep you as informed as possible. As of right now, they have not. Right now, we are, as I said, in virtual until January 23rd. So we meet Mondays and Wednesdays. Here's our Zoom link. All right. If you're a MJCC major, something else that is required is studio cleanup. If you're not at studio cleanup, your grade can actually be held up. I haven't ever had to do that, but you never know. Okay, so obviously we're continuing from CAD Cam 1. We're going to continue learning Rhino. We're going to create basic objects and 3D models for production, rapid prototypes, and rendering. Rhino and CAD will supplement bench-based techniques of making, such as casting, cold connections. And upon completion of the course, students will be able to use Rhino to create three-dimensional models for virtual reality, rapid prototyping via 3D printing, and patterns for use in bench work and photorealistic rendering. We're going to be doing a bit more rendering this semester than in previous ones. Little bit of background here. I don't know what you guys know about the history of our program, but this was one of the first programs in the world to use CAD for teaching jewelry. And it's an integral part of our major here. Okay, and we're going to discuss an experiment with a multitude of materials, processes, and there you have the options of doing other materials besides just the plastic or the castable resin that we may have used in CAD 1. These are different processes of 3D printing. We've got stereolithography, DLP, fused deposition modeling, SLS, selective laser sintering, laser melting, electronic beam melting, and laminated object manufacturing. That's a fun one that you don't see very often anymore. But anyway, we'll talk more about those in an upcoming lesson. We are going to be mainly using Rhino 7. That is our that's the workhorse for our CAD program here at MJCC. We're going to be using KeyShot for rendering. And then we're also going to use NetFab. NetFab is great for helping to get our files ready for 3D printing. That conversion from the Rhino NURBS file into a STL mesh file that is used for 3D printing. We're also going to cover a lot of different language around CAD, around historical context of the objects that we make, where we fit in the world of jewelry and art objects. We want to generate well-crafted geometry. I mean, just because it prints doesn't mean it's a good file. We'll prepare those files. We're going to understand a little more about 3DM files, STL files, other types of mesh files. Here's our learning objectives. These are the things that are goals for the course and how we're going to assess those. We're going to use Rhino software to create 3D models. Obviously, I'm going to keep an eye on your 3D models. We're going to try and do some group work in this class, which is a little different, moving up from CAD 1. We'll be using NetFab to prepare 3D models for printing. You probably remember that from CAD 1. It's kind of a fixer repair program, but it does a number of things. It also does analysis. And again, our assessment tool for that is we'll look at those models that come out of NetFab. We want to understand the process of rapid prototyping with 3D modeling. And we'll also use lost wax casting again in terms of elements for our projects. So again, there's the preparation of the model, the investment, and the cast model. That's what we'll use to assess that. KeyShot. We're obviously going to do some more rendering. We're actually going to even look at animating using KeyShot. And then we, of course, will assess that goal using the rendering image files. Of course, you are going to participate. It's important to discuss when we're talking about lessons, ask questions. If one of your neighbors has a question, help out that you know the answer to. Share with people, the problems that you have with your files or things that are successful. We're going to be doing demonstrations. Now, this doesn't mean throw it together 10 minutes before class starts. I want you to research some of the techniques that you're going to use to make your files in this class. And everybody's going to do a demo. I'll work with you with your demo. We're going to have a file on Canvas where the demos will go. And I haven't decided yet whether we're going to do them in person or online. But the participation and the demos will be, oh, by the way, these demos are only like 5 minutes. We're not talking, a 20-minute demo. We're talking about you coming up with maybe a favorite command that you use or a command that you needed to learn for your Bangle project maybe. And if you, put together a short little description about that, you can use the Rhino help as a basis to start with, and then demonstrate it to your classmates. Your classmates will hopefully ask questions that will contribute to their participation grade. And then we'll keep those on Canvas. So, if you can say, oh man, I remember Laura did network surface, and it would be great to see what that, I can't quite remember how to use that. And then you can go into Canvas and you can take a look at, the sheet that Laura put together about that. She may have copied off of McNeil's website, but still it's in a place where you can find it. That's so that's how the demos are going to work. I haven't decided yet whether you're going to do 1 or 2. We have a pretty big class, so I don't know if we'll have time to do 2. And I was still looking at the calendar to determine the best way to do these. And maybe I'll put together a quick poll at the end of this and ask you guys whether you would rather do the demos in person or online. And I can probably do that in Zoom. So that's the class participation. And that's going to be 20% of your grade between the demo and participating in class. Project 1, the bangle. This is a bangle designed for your wrist. It's kind of like a ring for your wrist. So we're going to use the Formlabs printers. Actually, I should edit that because we actually have the option of using a printer over in the library. They got a new printer over there called a Fuse One. It's a stereo, it's a selective laser sintering nylon printer. It's a great printer. We were actually thinking about getting one for the jewelry department, I think, but they're kind of expensive, but the library got one in the meantime. So we can just walk on over to the library and submit a file, which is really amazing. So you may have the option of working in that material if you like, but we're going to print our bangles. We're going to learn about dyeing and painting, different finishes and coloring that we can use on these. And actually that's part of the assignment, is that you're able to, you want to add some color to this. It can include additional cast objects, and the bangle is 30% of your grade. And then we have project 2. And I want to say that there's going to be some overlap between what's happening. Obviously, the demonstrations are going to be going on all semester. And probably by Wednesday, I'll have a sign-up sheet so that you can sign up for a demo slot. And then it's important that you talk to me, at least the class before your demo, to let me know what you want to do. And then the bangle is going to obviously come in the first part of the semester. And before the bangle is finished, we will introduce project 2. And that will take place the rest of the semester. Project 2 has 2 parts to it. Project 2 is a multi-part bracelet or necklace, and you will need to figure out, the mechanism or form of connection that's going to happen in this project. And you'll do a 3D printed test part. We're all going to do a test part, a ball and socket joint, which is a movable, a movable mechanism that we can design in Rhino and have 3D printed. So we'll have a test part, which is kind of a, a theory and proof of what we're hoping for the final piece. You'll be printing multiple pieces for your final piece, and also using color and or dyeing on that. One of the things that's going to be happening throughout the course of the semester is you will be using Keyshot to create virtual photorealistic renderings of these pieces while you're working on them. And we'll be talking about that as each of those happens. So project 2 is worth half of your grade. So start thinking about project 2, but you don't have to commit to anything through it first. We're gonna take off with the bangle, and we'll go there to start. So I've got a little more detail here than as far as how we grade, how we can get really good grades, how to execute the prompts well. So you want to look at the prompts, and I haven't given you the prompts for any of these yet. is it clear? Did you include all the elements? Did you thoughtfully consider the design? You know, if it was inspired by something, is that clear? Is that translated? You know, professionalism, engagement, craftsmanship, creativity and originality. You know, if you're creating something that you saw somewhere, not going to do so good on that part of it. Is your piece well designed? Is it well researched? You know, did you, you know, are you looking up, let's say you're inspired by trees. Did you go up and look at, you know, all different, you know, species of trees and, you know, see, you know, and learn about them and see what it is about them that you find interesting? And is there a way to incorporate some of those, some of what you've learned into your 3D modeling? Has your idea grown? Did it evolve at all? You know, were you confident and proficient in the materials and techniques you used? That's, you know, craftsmanship. How much time did you spend on this? I mean, if you threw it together at the last minute, you know, but if you were out there at the bench all the time, you know, trying to, you know, if you're printing out test piece after test piece and you're trying to, you know, test the die or see how well the mechanism fits together, or those little slides going to work the way that you think that they would. And, you know, maybe you made a paper model to figure out, you know, the rhino, you know, how the rhino is going to work, or maybe you're researching mechanisms on YouTube. And, you know, how much time are you spending is important, especially in craftsmanship, because craftsmanship is practice. And that means that you can't do it once. Usually with craftsmanship, you have to go ahead and do things a few times. Okay, how is this all going to wind up in your final grade? Class participation is 10. Demos is also 10. I kind of lump them together above. Project 1 Bangle is 30%, and the test part and the multi-part necklace or bracelet is 50%. Here's where things are with letter grades. I always bemoan the fact that I can't do A+. It's really annoying to me that somebody who gets a 92.5 is getting the same A as a person who got a 99. But that's what Temple has. So, you know, if you want an A, you know, you have to have a 92.5% or higher. So course materials. Obviously, you need an internet connection. We can't do Zoom with that if you're not here, and you have to be here online. If you have trouble with that, please let me know, keep me posted. You know, again, my cell phone is up at the top, and 6-inch digital calipers. We have them in the tool room. You're welcome to borrow them, but you can't borrow them and take them home. And because we're hybrid, I think it's important that you have your own calipers. Calipers are super, super important in any CAD work. They're not that expensive. You can buy them. Harbor Freight's got a pair for, I think, $10, $12. Amazon's got some that are digital. They're perfectly serviceable, battery operated. They work in millimeters and inches. Calipers are super important. You want to make sure that you're backing up your work. It should be backed up. First of all, it should be on the server. I would save everything that I can on the MJCC servers. We can access them from any of the computers in the studio. You can access them using remote access. And also, it doesn't hurt to keep a Google Drive or a OneDrive, since that's what Temple's going with now, is this Microsoft OneDrive. You know, some of you may use other things like, you know, Box or Dropbox. You know, have some other place to store things besides your computer. It's great if you have your own personal copy of Rhino. It's great if you're working on your own computer. What happens if you lose that laptop? That's a real thing. We've lost laptops. Laptops get destroyed. you know, you could almost get hit by a bus and drop your backpack, and your backpack's hit by the bus. You know, what, all that work, don't just save it in one place. Always save it in at least 2 places, preferably 3. If you have a, you know, a Google Drive and your computer and the MJCC server, that's great. Back things up. 3D printed materials. So that depends on, you know, what your object, you know, what object you have, because 3D printed materials are priced according to the volume that they take up. So if you're working super small, your things might not be very expensive. You know, and I don't want to encourage you to work super small. You usually, I can tell you, size makes a big difference in the impact that a piece can make. So the tutorials on McNeil's website, those of you who've taken CAD 1 should remember these. There's so many tutorials on there. What we went through in CAD 1 was just scratching the surface of what McNeil has there as resources. There's also plenty of stuff on Vimeo and YouTube. You know, none of these are like super, you know, they're not necessarily required, but they're a great place to go, especially when you're researching for your demos. You obviously need to have the Rhino 3D software. You need to either be connecting via Temple remote access to that, or you may need your own copy. If you were writing out a test version, a trial version, it's time to buy one, because it's not going to last for the whole semester, number one. And, you know, then you're going to have to change your email address. I mean, there are ways around it to keep riding a test version, but believe me, I don't know that it's great to keep trying. Okay, Paulette, you had a question. Oh, do you want to, here we go, ask to unmute. There we go.
I don't have a question, but I actually got my IP address banned from Rhino for the student free version because like I did it too many times.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be like me, guys.
I didn't. Hey, thanks for having the bravery to say that. I really appreciate that. I didn't even know that they kept track of it that much, but I did know that, you know, it's just not worth the hassle of like, oh crap, when is my trial running out? I mean, it's $200, guys. I mean, if you were in, you know, a major like mathematics or physics, you'd be spending $200 on a textbook. And this is a software that you can use for the rest of your life. I am still writing my student version. And frankly, so is Doug Bucci, and he's the department head. You know, you know, once the really great, generous thing about McNeil and how they support students is by offering that super low cost, and $200 is super low cost for software of this caliber. By offering that at $200, it means when you graduate, like, and Rhino 8 or 9 comes out, you can upgrade to it for $100. You don't have to go and spend the full price of, get it, $995, $1,000 for the full version. If you don't get that while you're a student and you end up having to buy that after you leave Temple, you're going to pay $800 more than you would have bought if you just bought it as a student. So, you know, I mean, I understand everybody's financial situation is different, but if you're looking at long-term wanting to do anything in product design, CAD, jewelry design, buy it before, you know, buy it sooner rather than later. And especially, you know, in these hybrid classes where you have to have it on your own computer. If you're unsure, you know, whether your computer can handle it or whether you aren't sure whether to do Mac or Windows, please, you know, sit down and talk with us. There's a number of us who use one or both. So, but yeah, thanks for sharing that, Paula. I really appreciate that. I didn't know that they were doing that, but now that I know, I'll point that out to people. Okay, optional 3D Rhinos 3D software resources. That's on the website. That's actually up here too. So here's our Canvas link. Let me open that in a new. We should be here. Yep, here we go. CAD 2, CAD Cam 2. Okay. And we've got the library, the writing center. You're not going to need the writing center for this semester. Computer help desk. If you're having trouble with remote access, if you're having trouble in any of the like the tech center or something, you can, Rhino is in the tech center. You can work in the tech center. You won't be able to connect to the MJCC servers, but you can get to Rhino in there. Same thing for architecture. If you can't find a computer to work in, or you're uncomfortable with the number of people, or the distancing isn't taking place and we need to be distancing, by all means, go somewhere else. There are other computers on campus that have Rhino on them. Architecture's on the 4th floor. The architecture CAD lab, you can go take the elevator to the 4th floor, walk straight out across. There's your CAD lab that also has Rhino there. Make sure you're saving your files up to the cloud somewhere, Google Drive, OneDrive. Technology specifications. So obviously you're going to need a computer. You're going to need internet access for Zoom and to use remote access, because, and it isn't just Rhino that we need for remote access. We also need NetFab. NetFab you can actually download using your Temple ID, and you'll be able to use that on your personal computer, but Keyshot is the other one, and Keyshot's expensive. And they do have a trial version, but it puts watermarks all over everything. It's really not, it's not acceptable to have those watermarks for assignments. You can use them for practice, but you're going to need to work with a full version of Keyshot, which means either remote access or coming in and using our computers. Okay, COVID-19, everybody's favorite subject. Perseverance conquers, and we're going to keep persevering. So right now we're in the first eventuality that has happened due to the recent increases in cases. So we're virtual for 2 weeks. Hopefully we're going to be back in our regular hybrid configuration on January 24th. Attendance and tardiness. So I'm going to take attendance when you first show up, and also I'll look at the end of class too. If you buggered out a little early, you may be put down for late, and that counts as half of absence. So if you have to leave early, please let me know ahead of time. And that is if you have to leave early. If you prefer to leave early, I suggest that you not do that. Okay. Cell phones, text messaging. If we don't have anything going on, I don't mind you texting. Do not keep your phones on silent. But if we're in crit, if there's a demo happening, if I'm doing a demo, if we're doing presentations, those phones should be away. They should be on silent. Unless you have an emergency happening, it's just rude. It's inconsiderate of your fellow students as well as the instructor, and sometimes your fellow students are the instructors. So, yeah, let's have manners there. But if you're texting with your friend and we're just, it's a work day, I'll look the other way. But please don't text in the middle of a crit. Late assignments. So we have deadlines. We talk about them. My habit as an instructor is I pull up the syllabus at the beginning of every class, and I look and say where we are. I look and say what's coming up. And I like to keep us all on the same page. When assignments are coming. And if it looks like you're having trouble, please communicate. Please, please, please communicate. We can work together to get you either to have it on time, to make sure that you have something for crit, even if it's not a finished object. We can talk about, you presenting where your issues are. And, I got to tell you, we've learned a whole lot. When I have students who do that, who say, well, the reason I don't have my object here today is because this is the technical issue I ran into. And maybe they'll show you the pieces that broke, or maybe they'll show you the file that isn't coming together. And these are ways that we all learn. If everything works perfectly and on time and smooth as silk, no one learns anything. So we learn from mistakes and issues and problems. And don't think that because you're running behind, you don't have something of value to offer to crit. But if you're too afraid to tell me that you're running behind and then you don't show up for crit, that puts you even more behind. So please just communicate with me. Incomplete grades. That really is a rare thing. If something terrible happens in your life and you have to withdraw or take it incomplete, I'm sure that we could talk about that. Generally, it's really hard. I haven't seen a whole lot of times when this was really that helpful for a student. So if we can get everything you need done in the course of the semester, it's better for everybody all around. So you could start your next semester with a clean slate and not have an incomplete hanging over you that you have to catch up on. But, there are times when it is appropriate. So talk with me if you need it. Academic honesty, plagiarism. There's not a whole lot of, right and wrong answers or ways of cheating that ways that you can cheat. But I can tell you, you must be doing your own work. If you have trouble with a file, and you ask for help from your neighbor, that's fine. You can ask for help. Don't let your neighbor control your mouse or start playing in your file and making it better or helping you out, or, hey, I'll show you how this command works, and do it on your computer. Now, let them show you on their computer. You watch them, you do it on your computer. If I see that, I will call it out. Your work should be your own work. We may do some collaborative stuff. We'll see. I mean, it depends on how things go, which that could be kind of fun. Did I see a chat? Wait a minute. Hey, Barb. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm sorry. I see that that's a direct one. Okay, good. All right. Sorry if I missed that earlier. And all right, so recording. I will record demos. We're going to try and record the demos that you guys do as well. Any one-on-ones, or if there's things going on during a class that you want to record, just put something in the chat or unmute yourself and say, hey, this is important. I think I'm going to record it. You're welcome to do that. Or you can request that things be recorded, and then they'll end up as part of our Zoom index on the on Canvas. So we could all go back and look at it later. But if you want to record something for yourself, one-on-ones, or maybe if we're in a breakout room and you guys are having a great discussion and you want to record it, just check with everybody. But yeah, you guys are allowed to record. Obviously, anything that you record is not to be posted publicly. I don't even post the demos that I do, although I put them on my YouTube channel. They're not posted publicly either. You have to have the link in order to view them. But yes, I think recording is a great tool, and it is one of the it is one of the good things that's come out of all this COVID having to go virtual stuff. I think that it's a super great resource. Disability. So if you have a disability, you can send me a letter from Disability Resources. If you're not registered with DRS and you do have a disability that could require an accommodation, and I say could, it doesn't have to require an accommodation, but if you have a disability that could possibly interfere with your learning in any way and an accommodation would help you, please register with DRS. They're by having the ability to send a letter to any instructor saying, hey, I need more time for deadlines due to X. It could be things like ADHD, anxiety. I mean, it doesn't need to be a physical disability. It may be a physical disability. You may have trouble. You may not be able to use a mouse. I mean, so I think it's important to contact them. If you haven't already, please do. It sometimes takes them a few months to get people in with DRS. So if you're even thinking, oh, maybe, go talk to them. Go talk to them. It's something that's good for you, and it allows me as an instructor to be able to bend things a little more than I normally have control over if I have a DRS accommodation letter. Faculty rights and responsibilities. We all go through these. You can go ahead and check out the link there. This has to do with academic freedom of speech and the fact that, yeah, academic freedom of speech, we'll put it that way. Technology usage. Obviously, if you're using Temple's technology, the computers, et cetera, remote access, don't abuse it. There are, a number of no-nos that you shouldn't be doing. You want to use your personal computer for no-nos, that's fine. Don't do it with Temple computers. Don't ever download software. I will tell you that onto any of our computers. You shouldn't be able to, number one, but if you find a workaround, please don't. Here's our drop add dates. Monday, the 24th, which is our first day in person. If you're not sure if you want to stick with the class, talk with me, or don't talk with me. That's fine, but if you have any questions about it, let me know. But this is the basic, last day to add, drop. And then you've got withdrawals. Withdrawal, that's all the way, that's the last day of class, April 25th. Here's the withdrawal policy. Medical withdrawals are an exception. And if you need advising help, Dave Logan and his crew are great. Make an appointment with them. So health and safety. Obviously, we've got our COVID thing still going on. So don't come to class if you're unwell. Just let me know. Send me a text. Say, I got the gizmo or whatever. Testing is available. Go get tested if you think it might be COVID. If it's not COVID and you're sick, still stay home. It's we don't even know. There's so many symptoms that we don't know. We have to wear masks. That's life. We should all be used to it by now. If you're not, sorry, we still got to do this. Additional PPA or PPE may be required in this program. So if we're working out in the studio, we should have on goggles. We should have on our our jackets. You want to tie your hair back. And of course, our usual, physical distance, 6 feet, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer. We also have sanitizing wipes. I can tell you that pre-COVID, we were using these in the CAD lab, especially because remember, you're sitting there using a keyboard and a mouse. You've got your hands all over it. You may have been touching your face, the worst. And it's a good habit to get into. You come in, restart the computer. There's a good reason to restart the computer. It's so you can reset all the RAM, and it allows your computer to, clear its mind. Restart the computer and go grab a sanitizing wipe and wipe down the keyboard, wipe down the mouse, wipe down the wire on the mouse, wipe down the area where you're about to sit for the next 2.5 hours, because somebody else has sat there recently for 2.5 hours as well. Think about that. They're great. Those wipes are all over the place. Same with the benches. When you're out at a bench, somebody else has been sitting at that bench, wipe the bench pen, wipe the seat, wipe the, the bench, your sweep store, everything. They're talking more about the public health pillars, face coverings, physical distancing, washing our hands, monitoring our health if you don't feel well. So it's important that we're also accepting of one another's differences. It's okay to have an opinion. Don't be rude about it. The tolerant spirit of academic discourse. I like that last bit of that. Opinions must be respected in the tolerant spirit of academic discourse. Let's just keep that in mind. So let's be respectful in all of our communications, class activities, meetings. You know, you can comment, question, critique, but don't attack anybody. And try to think about, you know, joking, whether something that you find funny and sarcastic might actually be hurtful to someone else. So if possible, try to think before you speak. We don't always succeed with that, but you know, let's try. And if you have offended somebody, it doesn't hurt to apologize. So be careful with your own and others' privacy. Have your behavior mirror how you would like to be treated by others. Online etiquette. So again, we're probably not going to do a lot of like online discussions. I know a lot of online or hybrid classes have a lot of that, you know, writing back and forth, you know, all caps stuff is a no. Just be, you know, just be tolerant of one another. We're going to be doing Zoom half the time. We'll have, I'll use breakout rooms as well as demos. You know, let's all be nice to one another when we're in breakout rooms. I think it is important that we, you know, communicate with one another. And, you know, we still try to develop relationships with our fellow students. So communication. I'll send things through email or through Canvas inbox, which should also show up in your email. Canvas, there's an app for Canvas as well. If you've got the capability of having that on your phone, I would suggest it because it's great. It gives me, I use it on my phone and I get little notifications. If somebody sent me a message or, you know, when there are due dates, it's a helpful thing. But mainly keep an eye on your Temple University email. Your Canvas notifications should show up there too. If you can, put your Temple email on your phone. Contact information. My contact information is at the top of the page. I'm available via text or email, but I might not be able to respond immediately. I always try to get back to people within 24 hours. That's my goal. So I got to say again, okay, we've had to go online for the first 2 weeks. We also have been advised to be prepared to go online at any time. Knock wood, we don't go there. Keep knocking my head. But if we have to, we'll find a way through this. I do have plans for how we can accommodate, you know, the 3D printing and the dyeing. We can have folks come in and work in the studio in small groups. But let's hope that we don't have to go there. I want to see all you guys in person 2 weeks from now. That's my hope and goal. Inclement weather. Yeah. Temple tends to send text messages. It also shows up on the top banner of the TU portal. Of course, it always winds up in the news and stuff too when Temple closes due to weather. But keep an eye on that kind of thing. And, you know, we all do. Respect and equity. This is a priority that we create an anti-discriminatory environment. Mutual respect, tolerance of difference, kindness, compassion. These are important. And, you know, all Tyler students are encouraged to participate, speak up, and express their viewpoints in a manner that's in keeping with the principles we seek to maintain as a community: mutual respect, tolerance of difference, kindness, and compassion. The last two are super important. Kindness and compassion. Let's think about that with one another. Names and pronouns. Obviously, I get the list from the university. You may or may not agree with that. Please let me know what you prefer to be called, what your preferred pronouns are. I think I have mine on my Zoom. I'm a she, I use she, her. And I'm happy to accommodate you in any way as far as your names or pronouns. But you need to communicate that with me however you like. You can text me, you can email me, we can talk afterwards. Basic needs. Do you have any trouble with groceries, food, finances, safe and stable place to live? We have a care team at Temple University, and it is available for you. You can contact them directly. You can talk to Dave Logan in advising. He can give you referrals to different people in the care team if you have specific needs. If you want, you can talk to me, and I'll get you in touch with somebody. If you need support and help, please ask for it. We're happy to help you what we can. There are other student support services that are available for you. We've got a whole list here. We have counseling services. We also have, here's disability resources. I mentioned those earlier. Food insecurity or financial struggles. There's the Cherry Pantry, and there's also student aid. And then the Office of Student Affairs also offers some resources. Oh boy. And then we can start to get into our schedule, but I'm going to stop right there for a minute. We're about an hour into class, and I am going to stop sharing my screen for a minute, and let me see. Does anybody have any questions so far? The first day of class is one of those days. Thank you, Angela. The first day of class is one of those days when I just get so tired of hearing the sound of my own voice. All right, and I'm going to just real quick grab a drink. Okay, so that's why don't we stop for 5 minutes, get up, stretch, walk around, look out the window, get yourself a drink, touch your toes. And it is 3:39 or 3:40, just turned 3:40. Let's meet in 5 minutes at 3:45. And I will talk to you all at that point. Yes, go stretch. I need to stretch, that's why. Stop recording. Okay, we are now resuming the recording. So I'm going to go right into Sharon's screen. We're going to go right to the syllabus here. All right. Look at this silly little Zoom control panel. All right, so here we are. This is the calendar, and of course, these 3 little words up here are super important. Subject to change. This is what we're planning for now. First day of classes, syllabus. Started to talk about demos. Like I said, I'm going to take a little poll at the end of this and decide whether we're going to do our demos on Monday or our demos on Wednesday. I have some opinions, but I'd really care to hear about your opinions too. On Wednesday, I'd like you to start having some sketches for Project 1, because we're going to miss a day of class next Monday due to MLK Day. And then next Wednesday, we're going to mainly have a work period, probably a demo. I put in the demos for Wednesdays, but I wasn't going to have it start right away. And these are subject to change, because like I said, I wasn't sure when I put this together how many people we would have, how many demos we need to have. We have a pretty big class. So we've got Project 1 work period, a I'm going to do an intro to dyeing, finishing our pieces. We've got work periods. We're going to talk about Keyshot before the end of January. We want to get you guys right back into that. We want to try and get those Bangle files submitted the beginning of February there. I'd like to have you guys submitting files for printing by the 2nd of February. Some of you may want to print test parts before that. That's okay too. We will, but once your Bangle files are submitted for printing, then after they're printed, then you still have to, you're going to be dyeing them or finishing them in some way, painting them. This is going to be something that you should start thinking about in the design stage rather than as an afterthought, like, oh, I'll see what I'll do with it after it comes out. When I show you the examples, and some of you may have seen the examples, they were in the case outside of the MJCC studios. They may actually still be out there. Not sure, I haven't been in for a week or two. So, once just submitting them for printing doesn't mean that that project is completely done. At this point, you're also going to be working on finishing it. We'll have group crit for that actually right after spring break. So that'll give you another month to deal with the finishing of those. And I want you to take your time on that. I don't, it doesn't help anybody for you to get something printed and then dye it real fast and think that, that's going to be the greatest thing ever the next day. It's really important to be thoughtful about coloring your 3D and finishing your 3D printed objects. So we're going to talk about project 2 in early February. The multi-parts, the bracelet, ball and socket. I'm going to pull out some movable parts. There's a bunch of really interesting stuff in the case in the CAD lab, which we're hoping to migrate to a better display elsewhere in the studio. But I want you to hold some of those pieces in your hands. You could see what these movable parts are like. We're going to talk about design. I'm also going to have everybody do a ball and socket. It's important to understand movable pieces and mechanisms that you create in Rhino and how they, what you need as far as tolerances and space between parts for them to be printed. What's really cool about that new printer over at the library is that it is selective laser sintering. And that means that interlocking parts are fully supported during the printing process. And we'll learn more about that, but what's really great about that is it means we can make some killer moving parts. And we'll talk about that definitely, but I'm super excited for that printer in case you can't tell. I'm hoping to get a test part over to them very shortly. So we're going to talk about the movable test parts. We're going to have sketches. I'm not expecting you guys to have sketches right off the bat. I think that it's important that you look at mechanisms, you look and see what inspires you. And we'll talk about different ways you can be inspired by movable parts. Then we'll have sketches on Valentine's Day. We'll be doing sketches together. And that's about when we have to do the midterm progress reports. We'll have, work periods, test parts. I'd like to see those test parts in by 23rd of February. And then we have break. So this way, when your test parts come back, you can have your test parts off printing, and then when we get back from break, you'll be able to take a look at those parts and start to really plan the rest of your semester insofar as project 2. We're going to have the project 1 crit, like I said, right after break. That gives you time over break to finish your dyeing, your painting, whatever it is that your finish is going to have on it. We'll be doing work period for our files for project 2. Hopefully they'll be in sometime mid-March, by the end of March at the latest. I mean, we'll have to see what we've got. Excuse me. I hate it when you have a sneeze coming and ugh. So you're going to need to submit files. We're waiting on printing at that point, and you're also going to be doing renderings. I want to see you doing renderings of your project 1. We're going to use the rendering process to help you make decisions about your coloring as well. That's a really fun way to get different looks for your piece without actually dyeing it yet. So we'll talk about that through project 1. We'll be doing that with project 2 as well. Your test part doesn't necessarily have to be dyed or colored, but it's always helpful to have a test part that you can test colors on. Actually, I save every little 3D printed piece that I can to use for tests for colors. So we're looking at the project 1 crit when we come back from spring break. Then we'll be working on the files for project 2, that movable bracelet or necklace, neck piece. Work period, we're doing rendering. Lots of working towards the end of March and April. More rendering. We're going to hopefully be doing some animation stuff. I'd like to see you guys be able to at least have a piece spin and do a nice job of it. We've got our final crit. I would like to do our final crit on the last Wednesday. I'd like to do that in person. And I'm communicating that now, and I'll try to make sure that I'm clear about it as the end of semester approaches. And then we can have our one-on-ones on Monday. Our last class is a Monday, which is an in-person class. I don't want to have crit after the one-on-ones. I prefer to do that afterwards so that I can take your work during crit and then hand it back to you at our one-on-one. And let's see. Yeah, that's the semester in a nutshell. That's where over here in this course summary, this has just got our Zoom links, and that's what we've got. So that is the syllabus. What questions might you have at the end of this here? Nope, nothing. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. And we'll just come back up to here. And I would like to talk to you guys about project 1. Oh, and I didn't publish this yet. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay, yeah, we'll do that later. So let's real quick, before we do anything about project 1, I want to go over the remote access, because that is important, because there's a number of you who aren't as familiar with that. I'm going to do share screen again. Yeah, this looks like it here. Oh, and okay. Start there. All right. And those of you who aren't as familiar with remote access, do feel free to just unmute yourselves and jump in with a question if you have it while I'm doing it. Okay, so if you look here in the Canvas, let me pull up the student view so you guys can, so I can make sure that you guys have all this available to you. Right, okay. So if you look here in the student view, in module 1, introduction and welcome. It's real quick. Okay, so here's our the announcement I sent out the other day. That's important. I'd like you to, by the way, especially since I don't know all of you, is to take a look at, oh, and some of you did already. Look at you guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, great. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Oh, good, good, good. You guys rock. Okay. Yeah, I thought I put mine in here. Oh, well, I'll have to put that up because I know that I did record it. I guess I just didn't get it up there. Wonderful. Thank you so much for you guys who are already following directions. You're awesome. Okay, so that's the first thing I'd like is if you guys could, do a quick little introduction. And let's go back to the modules. Now, next thing is remote access. And after remote access, by the way, there is a very short assignment, which I have to unlock. I'll do that before the end of class here, where you create your own folder on the MJCC server. I'm going to leave student view here. And I'm going to show you what we got. Okay, so remote access is you use a tool built into Microsoft that allows you to connect to a computer at Tyler, or actually anywhere at Temple. But I specifically am encouraging you to connect to the computers at Tyler in the Metal Studio. The reason for that is because those computers in the Metal Studio have access to the server. We use our server to, number one, to keep class resources in one place where you can get them. We also use it to submit our 3D printing files and some of our 2D cutting files for, say, the Wazer or our laser cutter. So it is, and we have a number of resources up there on the server that are kind of fun. It's actually, if you get a chance, you should wander around on the server a little bit. There's some definitely some history there. So, but the first thing you need to do is you need to get the names of the computers that you're wanting to log on to. And okay, well, this is the, if we go here to this, that's the instructions, but here's the links to view the available computers. This is what I was trying to get to first. This tells you, these are all the computers here. And that link was right here in module 1, remote access to Temple computers. If you click on this link, it brings up this list. Some of these computers are available. Some of them say in use. Sometimes a computer says it is in use when it is not actually in use. If you have a favorite computer that you want to log on to regularly, I suggest you try to do that. You're not going to always be able to log on to all the same computers, to the same computer all the time, which is another good reason to save your files in the server, because you can reach the server from any of the Metal's computers. The other thing that is important when you're working is to keep your files also somewhere else besides the server. God forbid something happens to our server. Servers fail. It happens sometimes, they could lose the whole system. There could be, power surge, burn out the hard drive that we have all that stuff being stored on. I don't know, but it can happen. It has never happened, but let's hope it doesn't. But in any case, it's important to keep, I like to keep 3 copies of my files. I'll keep a copy in the server. I'll keep a copy. I have a Google Drive, and then I have a backup that backs up my personal computers automatically. This way, maybe it doesn't do it every day, or maybe it does it every couple days. At the very least, I've only lost out on a couple days work. not a lot of work, not a whole month's worth or month's work or year's worth. So try to keep backups. They are important. The first time you lose and have to rebuild something, you'll realize why. So if you can, do it before you lose something. So, but what we're looking at here is a list of the addresses, the names and or addresses, which are the same thing, of each of these computers. So if we go to the directions, which are here, that was, again, another link that's here, its.temple.edu remote labs. So we're going to go here. It says to go to the list and find a computer. You can check for specific software, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you which computers have the software you want, and that's the metals computers. You could also log into, if you need to, the tech center or the architectural computer lab on the 4th floor. You could also go there, by the way, but you just can't get to our server. So here's the instructions. All right, and this is something to keep in mind too. The computer will log off after 15 minutes of inactivity. If you're not using that computer and you're logged in and you walk away, it'll log you off. And that might be another reason that some of these are showing as in use, because the next time you log into that computer, everything that you left there when you walked away and it logged you off is there. It's going to be sitting there, all the windows will be open, and you're usually able to save things unless somebody shut down the computer in the meantime. That can happen too. And then at that point, it'll probably show as available. So that's why I'm saying that, you know, if you usually log into 220B computer 2, and now it's showing in use, it might not be in use. So I'm going to show you about logging on in a minute. So here we go. These are our instructions. So if you're a Mac user, this is the very first thing you have to do, is you need to download remote desktop, Microsoft Remote Desktop. It's a software application. You can get it from the App Store. There it is. And of course, it's going to open up the App Store automatically, which I don't need because I already have it. Let me quit the App Store here so it's not. All right, so once you have that downloaded, follow the instructions for installing it. I think you just have to drag it in the applications folder or something like that. The next thing you'll do is you'll go to this link here, and you might want to bookmark it. I have it bookmarked. We're going to go there. And here is where you can add these different computers. You can have a whole list of like 6 or 8 of these if you want. Sometimes I do. I just deleted a bunch of them when I was demoing this earlier today. So here's 220B18, but I'm going to add one because when you log in here for the first time, you're not going to have any listed here. Now, if you're somebody who had remote access last semester, I know those of you who were in my CAD 1 class for the fall, you probably still have access. You can probably still go in, you can probably log in, all your favorite computers are going to be listed there. This kind of thing tends to roll from semester to semester until and unless they disconnect the Microsoft Remote Access, you will probably continue to have access to be able to log in remotely, which is a good thing. Okay, so over here, it's asking for name and address and description. What does it mean by that? I'm going to try and add a new computer. I go to this list and I'm going to add, let's add computer 10, TSA 220B-10. That's the computer name, or oh, wait, here we go. Let's see if I can copy just that. No, I just try to remember it. So I'm going to go here. Where's that at? Does it here? Okay, can you guys see the window that's floating above here where it says add a bookmark?
No.
No, okay. I was afraid of that. Hold on. Let me, good, I'm glad that you, because it's a pop-up window. Now I'm just going to share everything. I'll share my whole desktop. Thank you for jumping right in there. Okay, so now can you see the pop-up? It says remotelabs.temple.edu, and there's 3 places for me to enter something. Okay, great. Thank you, Brittany. Okay, so TSA stands for Tyler School of Art, -220B, and let's put in computer 10. And that's the address. That's also the name. I just keep them both the same because I can never remember whether you connect by the name or the address. And then I'll just say like CAD Lab 10. Super, super important. Always click RDP link. Okay. I hit add. And when I go back to this screen, I have to hit refresh. It's going to have 2 of them here. I've got TSA 220B 18. I've got TSA 220B 10. So I'm going to click on 220B 10. And did you see that little thing just pop in? It downloaded. I'm going to go to my downloads folder here and open that up. And as you can see, I've been doing a lot of remote access today. This last one, the most recent one, I'm going to click on that. And now it's going to start to connect me. What basically happened there was that a script was created that allows me to log in through Microsoft Remote Access because I am using a Mac. And now I have to log in with my Temple email and AccessNet password. So here's my Temple email at temple.edu, not just your AccessNet, but your at temple.edu. Obviously, you need to put in your password. Wait a minute, do that again. Okay, I'm not going to click show password and show everybody. Okay, and it says now you're connecting to the RDP host, remotelabs.temple.edu. That's fine. It says it couldn't verify the certificate. Don't worry about it. Just go. And here we are. This is what we get. This is what you would have gotten if you were sitting in the CAD lab in front of computer 10. And I click there to go on. And it shows me logging in. Now, what I have right now is as if I was sitting in front of computer 10. And I'm going to stop for 30 seconds and go pull down that window shade that is shining in my face. Hold on. There we go. That was just the right amount of time. Okay. That took a little while and it was preparing because I haven't logged on to this computer before. For those of you who don't know, we did get a bunch of new computers at the end of last semester. So if you've been working on a particular computer, you may have a, your work may not be on it anymore. So here we are. This is what the desktop looks like on one of our MJCC CAD lab computers. And here is the link to our Metal server. I'm going to double click on that and it brings up our Metal server right off the bat. That's great. Here we are, CAD 2. We are CAD 2 Spring 2022. And I did put some examples in here for project 1. These are renderings from project 1 from last semester. But over in here, I did want you to, why am I doing that? Didn't want to try them. I want you to create a folder in here. Okay, with your name, just like I am. Yeah, I'm gonna, there we go, Barb Bauer. That's my folder. I'll save some things in there. So, any questions about this? Especially those of you who haven't done remote access before. Now, you may not be able to do it right away. I know that I had just sent an email prior to the beginning of class, or right at the beginning of class, with let's see whether anybody got back to me from Temple, from our IT guys about the nope, nothing so far. So we'll see. Oh wait, yeah, everyone should have access. Okay. Okay, alrighty, got it. All right, actually, you guys should all be good at this point. Great, perfect. So if you, and there we go, there's Sam. And great. So that's the, yeah, according to these guys, that's where we are. We should be able to log in. Now, according to the fellow here too, he also tells me that you can only one person, in person or online, remote access, can use a computer at a time. There we are. We'll see how that works out. And that may be because we have the newer computers. Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing and just give you guys a second here if there's any other questions about remote access. Nope. Okay, well, in that case.
Barb, I do have
Yes.
one question.
Sure.
Is it the same for people who have a Chromebook to get in there?
There may be, hold on a second. There may actually be different instructions for you. Hold on. Okay. I thought that I saw something about Chromebooks. Remote lab. Okay. Oh. Let's see. Here we go. Connect from a Chromebook. So you also need to download the Microsoft Remote Desktop from Google Play.
Okay.
Okay, so when you go to Canvas and go here to these instructions, you're going to want to do connect from a Chromebook. When this page starts out, it looks like this. And you have to expand this. And this is what it comes with default. And then you'll have to check here. And then probably after you download that, it's probably very similar. Yep, there we go. You go to that. It looks like you'll add bookmarks. You want to click the RDP link. It looks like it's pretty much the same from there.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Great question, though. Great question. I don't know if anybody else has got a Chromebook, but yeah, and that's fortunate that, you know, I just noticed that the other day when I was double checking about how the remote access was functioning, whether it changed at all over the course of the break. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to start. We're going to take a quick look at some of these examples on the server. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. I'm going to go to remote desktop. And now at this point, I'm going to, I'm just sharing the screen from this remote desktop. So I put together these renders here, and hopefully we're going to, let's see what our best way is going to be. Let's start from the bottom. I think that we can just open these up. And just go back. Okay. All right. So, yeah, there we go. So as you can see, we've got these are renders of a Bangle. I think this is Ashley Young. And you can see that although we have the same 3D model that we're using here, she's changing the colors and changing the angles and looking at these different color schemes. Okay, now this is a different person. I don't have all their names off the top of my head. Some of these we do, but here we have a bangle. It's just kind of like floating up in the air. This is Anna Sherman. And here we've got, I mean, we're playing with different materials, different finishes, pretty solid stuff. Here's somebody did a mock-up for a product design. And you can see they worked with the Nike swish. And swish, I don't know what they call it. It's a but you can see playing with the you can play with reflections, transparency. You can see here we've got like bubbles inside. You can move it around, different positions. And that person obviously wanted to play with the transparency more. Now here's some color options. This is kind of cool. Why print out 5 of them and do a die? You can see which you might like, what you most gravitate to in terms of color or how light. We'll look at after looking at all these renderings, I'm going to show you the photos if you haven't seen them already. This is kind of cool. We've got a pattern on here. You'll find in KeyShot, you can put patterns on top of colors. You can change materials around. This is that one bangle from a different angle. There we go. Same one, different angle. And here we're getting a lot of, I don't know whether this is clear and you're dealing with reflections or whether the materials are changed in this. But this, I wanted to give you guys an idea of the range of experimentation you can use on a design while the output is still in, you know that you're going to output it into a 3D print, but what is that 3D print going to look like? What's the final? And you can make these decisions while it's being printed. This is the same bangle here. Lots of different colors, color schemes. We've got different angles here with these colors. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Let's stop back here. So this actually is a video that was generated from KeyShot. I really would like you guys to do this with some of yours. Once you get the color scheme figured out, it actually takes a lot of time to generate these videos because, and we'll run it again. You can see that what it's really doing is just paging through multiple renderings in order to create a smooth animation. So now we're back to Anna Sherman's bangle. Okay, oh, is that everybody? That might be. Geez. Come on, guys. All this about all right, so yeah, I think we looked at them all. Yeah, Elena, yeah, okay, so that was this one. So the Bangle project, and I will write up a more formal prompt later, but I just wanted to get you guys starting to think about it. The Bangle project is not a movable mechanism. This is going to be a bangle that it can be open or closed. It just slides onto your wrist, and we will be coloring it in some form. We can use dye, we can use paint. Let me go back to, I got to stop the share and move to the other window. Back to here, and home. Project 1, overview. And I wanted to go here and show you guys the Instagram post about, these are the actual pieces. These are the pieces that we were looking at renderings. They started out in Rhino, just like your bangles are going to start out in Rhino. And these were dyed or painted. You can see here what the final decision was on the object. But the great thing is that you have this option of creating multiple variations of it, depending on color schemes. And you can do all that relatively simply in KeyShot. Yeah, I didn't see this one didn't have the renderings in the folders. Here's actually what I find interesting is how close this one is to the rendering. I think that's Newell. There's that Mikey Swish, again, pretty transparent. I think this one came out lovely. And here's a look at the display itself as it ended up in the case outside. By the way, if you guys don't follow Tyler Metals on Instagram, you totally should. You may end up seeing your work there. Okay. So any questions? That's the rest of the Instagram. I'm going to stop screen sharing and get back in here. No questions. All right, we did talk about the dates for this. I'd like you to start sketching if possible. While we're, you could start sketching actually today. We can get, I'd like to see if you can get into remote access if you haven't tried yet. I see some of you already have. And so it's like 4:30 now. We have another 40 minutes of class. And what I'd like to do is have everybody do a work period, and I'm going to set up a set of breakout rooms. Those of you who've had me before might, remember I like to, when we're online, it's helpful to break you into smaller groups. And this way you can chat with the people in your small group and ask questions. You could say, is she really thinking that we're gonna dye this piece? Is she out of her mind? You can talk about me. No, don't. Or whatever, no biggie. But you can actually talk about the project, talk about your ideas, kick around ideas, say, I was thinking about building this. I really like, you might be like, Samantha and really like cats. And, maybe you want a cat bangle, or maybe you just, like patterns and you want to have a repeating pattern around it. But I think that the sooner you get yourself back into Rhino, the sooner you can get yourself warmed up, and that will be helpful. However, before we do anything else, I would like to see, actually what I'm gonna do is stop recording, because I think I've gone through, the whole syllabus, the basic presentation, a little bit of talking about the project one. And this way, unless there are any other general questions. Okay, stop recording.